What's up, beautiful people? This is Rika. Thank you for joining me for this episode. I wanted to apologize in advance. There is a little glitchiness or a little interference in the recording, but you will still be able to hear the message and join the conversation. So, on to the show. Hey, everybody. This is Rika, your host of Soul Healer Podcast. And today I am joined by special guest, Katie Ewers, numerologist and host of the Soul Explorer Numerology Podcast. And I asked Katie to join me on the podcast today because listening to her podcast, she knows so much about numerology. Did you guess that already? She knows about life path numbers and soul urge numbers. And for those of you that know me, know that I definitely live by life path numbers. I would give people on the metro their life path number if they sat beside me. So now I am excited to talk to someone who knows this, like really, really, really knows this. So welcome, Katie, to Soul
Hello.
Podcast.
Hello, everyone. Happy to be here.
Thank you so much for joining me. Katie, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Right. So I work with the language of the universe, which is sacred number, to remind people, to help people to understand that they have a real life purpose that they come to this lifetime to achieve. And without this knowledge of knowing that you've already come with a purpose, you'll get given a purpose by the people around you. And it's that ultimate question that we all ask ourselves: why am I here? Sometimes we just ask ourselves that question, don't we?
Yeah.
And that's what I just love to do. I just love to remind people what they're here for.
Okay. And how did you get into numerology? Is this something you've been doing your whole life?
Absolutely. So when I was very young, my dad would always bend my ear about spiritual stuff, which I didn't fully understand at the time. And he would talk about the power of one, the power of three, and how they work together. So I started to read and look around some of his books. And then when I was a teenager, I was doing the numbers of all my friends on the quiet, because, when you're a teenager, you don't tell your friends that you do things like that because, it might not be cool.
Mm-hmm.
So I would be doing all their numbers, their expression number, their life path, and I would know so much about them. And it gave me this hidden wisdom, things that I knew about them. And it was just something, it was just so accurate. And I just fell in love and never stopped doing it. And then I had a past life regression, which showed me numerology in practice. It showed me how we live each lifetime. We have multiple lifetimes, and that we take talents with us from lifetime to lifetime. We take issues with us from lifetime to lifetime. And we have a life path, but we don't always achieve that in one lifetime. Sometimes it can take many lifetimes, and sometimes we could do it in maybe one or two, but sometimes it can take many lifetimes to achieve our challenges. And my past life regression, it showed me why my dad had issues that he had, why I had issues, why I had the fears that I had. It blew my mind. And then I just felt my guides telling me every day, you should be helping people. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't hide it. Don't just do it and then snigger and think, oh, I know better than you. You've got to help other people with this. So, but at first I was very nervous about it. So when I did my first video, I sort of did the video and then went to hide under a cushion because I was really scared about how people might respond. You never know how people might respond. And it was only over time, when I was getting good feedback, I thought, yeah, I love this. I'm just going to keep doing it. And it sort of rolled from there, really.
Did you encounter a lot of people who had fear come up about this? Like, oh, this isn't something I'm supposed to do. This is witchy. This isn't of God or whatever? Like, did they push away from it?
Well, what I what is my big philosophy is that not everybody is ready to hear certain bits of information, and it might not be their path at that moment to hear that. So I don't tend to give people their numbers unless they show an interest and their heart, their soul asks me for that information. Because you can give people nuggets of information, but if they're not ready to hear it, it will fall on stony ground and they just won't do anything with that. So I'm very much the sort of person that waits for that person to say, oh, can you tell me my numbers? And then I'll be off telling them all their numbers and everything about it, because I feel at that moment their soul is ready to hear it. And if they're not, I don't tell them.
Okay. So, as I mentioned with myself, when I first found out about life path numbers, I looked at my entire family. I looked up
Yeah.
friends, and I was like, here, take this information, read it. It'll tell you about your whole life. And I have a website that I go to that really resonates with me, and her name is Felicia Bender. I don't know if you've heard of her before. I don't know her personally. And I tell people, like, I don't know this lady. I don't have any type of partnerships with her. This is just the site that resonates with me the most. And I'll say, here, this is about a karmic debt number that you have attached to you. This is about this number that you have attached to you, or the master number. And people think, they hear master number and they're like, oh, I'm gonna be a master. And I'm like, that does not, that means like you may have a tough life. Like it could mean so many different things. But I also noticed during our discussion through email that there's not only a life path number, but you mentioned something about toolbox number.
Absolutely, yes.
What is a toolbox number?
Right. So if I could, so I consider someone's date of birth is their purpose.
Mm-hmm.
And that consists of their whole date of birth reduced and added together, and with specific reference to the day they were born as well. So I use the life path number and the birthday number. There, this is your targets. This is what you're here to do. And you won't necessarily find that easy. However, you were given a present. The first present you were ever given the day you were born was the energy of your birth name. That energy of your birth name contains your toolbox that you will then use to help you achieve the challenges of your purpose, which is your life path and birthday number. So within that toolbox is your name holds that toolbox information, and that's your talents, that's your soul urge, which is your motivation, that's your personality number, your maturity number, and quite importantly, your karmic past. So I break down the letters of someone's name and look at what they've done before. Look at what energies they might still not have achieved yet, and what energies might be a bit overbalanced. Like if the average is 1 number and you've got 5 in your name, you're going to have a lot of energy in that, and that can cause a huge overbalance. Or if you have none, you might struggle because you don't have that experience in your soul from the past. So I see someone's name as their toolbox.
Okay, so what if a person does not resonate with their birth name and they have changed their name or they go by a nickname? Do you still get the same type of information from that?
The birth name is a fixed talent that is there from birth. However, we change our names. We often don't use our full name. I don't go up to someone and go, hello, my name's Katie Louise Ewers. I don't always express that energy, even though it is a fixed talent within me. So if I just say, hello, my name is Katie, that vibrates at the 191. So that is a slightly different vibration that actually helps your expression number. It kind of adds to it like a helper. So I vibrate at the 5, which is my full birth name. But if I just say, hello, my name is Katie, then 1 is attached to that. So I'm a 5 and a 1. So the 5 is fearless and the 1 is strong. So it kind of, those energies add together.
Okay.
And they work together.
Okay. And when you mentioned if you just go up to someone and say your name is Katie, you said the 191. What does that mean?
Yes. So each letter of the alphabet vibrates at a number.
Mm-hmm.
So A is 2, A is 1, T is 2, I is 9, and E is 5.
Mm-hmm.
So add all those together, that comes to 19, 191.
Oh, okay. I got it. I got it. So when you say 191, I understand it better because if you think of the life path numbers, which for those of you listening that don't understand the life path number and how you add that number up, from what I know, from how I do it, and I've seen different ways to do it, you can add each individual number from the year you were born and then add that to the month and then add that to the day. And you may get a double digit, which could be a karmic debt number or a master number, and then you still bring that down to a single digit. So a 191 in my sense may be like a karmic debt number and then your life purpose number, which is the 1 as a leader. That's me. So now I understand it better because I can see it in my head as me writing it out. But I just wanted to break it down for those people listening that may not understand how that is. So would you consider, based off of your name, that there's some karmic debt that followed you from a past life?
Yes. So my full name, so Katie is 191.
Mm-hmm.
My full name altogether, when I add each reduced element, that adds to a 145, which again is a karmic debt. So sometime in my past, I had been maybe a bit rebellious, not used my freedom responsibly, and gained a karmic debt. But when it becomes your talent number, the 145 is actually my talent number, my expression number. That shows that actually I've surpassed that karmic debt and I'm showing the talent of that number, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
So though the 145 is in my name, it is something that I've already walked that path, and I've already I actually show talent in the 145. But if it was your life path number, then you're still working with that debt.
So for those who don't know the 145, well, the 5 is considered a freedom seeker, right?
Absolutely.
You're that freedom fighter. You're like, no, I'm not.
I am. Everything I've ever done is work towards freedom. And when I, even as a child, and I read my expression number, I laughed my head off. I thought, that's me. But then when I read my life path number, I laughed because that wasn't me.
Wow.
It's not your number yet. I'm working towards being a 347. I wasn't a 347 yet. So whereas my 5-ness was out everywhere, loud, gobby, communicative, rebellious, the 7 in me was there, but the potential was there, but it was still building. I'm more of a 7 now than I was before. Let's just say that.
Okay. So before we go any farther in the conversation, I like to ask people who are on the podcast, if you could give me an intention for this conversation, what would it be?
I thought then, are you asking the people on the podcast to say that, or for me to say that?
Well, you are my guest on the podcast. So sometimes I give an intention based off of why I asked you here and what I would hope for other people to gain from listening to this episode.
Oh yeah.
But what is your intention for why you do what you do? And how it can help people listening?
I want everybody to know that they have a life purpose that they agreed before they came here, and that it's for your own personal evolution. And if you don't know that information, if you don't know why you're here and that it's for your own evolution, society will give you a purpose. They will say, you've got to go to school, get your grades, get a job, pay your taxes, have more children. And, they will give you a purpose in life or tell you what you are here to do, when it's not the case. That's just society's conditioning. So I want to make as many people in this world aware that they have their own personal life purpose, that they should be pursuing for their own evolution, not just to impress whatever leader we have in society, or not just to impress the people around you or to get validation from people around you. You have a purpose, and that purpose is for you. And it shouldn't be controlled by society or anyone else around you. And I just want everyone to know that.
Yes, thank you so much. And that's pretty much why I felt guided and to ask you to join me on this episode, because I can't reach everybody myself. And I know you can't reach everybody yourself, especially you're in the UK. You're in a different time zone. My people don't know you. So I'm a connector. I like to connect people with individuals that they may not have ever thought was available. And I stumbled upon your podcast, and I know things resonate with me that other people may overlook. And I consider myself a soul healer. So it was just the name alone resonated with me. I was like, she's my soul sister. And she loves numbers like me. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Let me check.
I do past life regression as well. So I do consider myself a soul healer.
Wow.
People's core to things that they might be holding on to from way back. And you can look at it in numerology, but you can actually do it in actually do it with a past life regression. And you really notice that people's life paths are so linked to what they say to you in their regression. You see issues that have run through many lifetimes that they're still dealing with now. And that blows my mind. And I always, when I do a regression, I talk to the person about their life path too. And we see, look how the same they are. Look how you always struggled with this in your life or showing love in your life. And look, you're a life path too. You're still struggling with showing love in your life.
Wow.
And it's just so inspiring. I've just got to get that to as many people as I possibly can.
Right. I completely understand, because I also do past life regressions. So this is so synchronistic. This is just amazing. And I'm glad that I found you and was able to listen to your podcast, and just so other people can know that they can check it out, because, we won't have time on today's episode to teach people how to figure out your life path number or your soul urge number or the toolbox, because even if I asked you to look up my name is so long. And that's what I go by, Rika Davis, because when I was born, a lot of people don't know, even people close to me don't know my full name, because I don't know what my mom was thinking. She wanted to put everybody's name in my name. So I
don't know what my mom was thinking.
My full name is Derica Audrey Terry Williams. That was my birth name. So that shit, it will take up a full line on the paper. But I know for some numbers or to look up some information, you would have to take just use the vowels and then just add the consonants, and it can get deep.
And I could go on for hours on one person's chart. I could dig for hours. If they've got 5 hours, I could fill it with their chart numbers.
And
I
yeah,
really,
people think astrology is deep, but numerology, whew, it can get deep. A lot of people just know about angel numbers and all of these different things, but it's so much more to it. And even like, what's your take on angel numbers? Do you do anything with that?
yes. I haven't done many videos on angel numbers. It's something that is in it's something that I'm looking to do in the future. But I get asked all the time, oh, I keep seeing 1111, or I keep seeing 111, or, every time I look at the clock, it's 2:22.
Mm-hmm.
And I can then, if that person asks me, I will then tell them the significance of that. Say 1111, the minute I see 1111, I go straight back into myself and ask my guides if there's anything they need to tell me at that time. Am I not listening to the wisdom? Because 1111 is calling you back to source. It's saying, hello, we're here, listen. So if I see 1111 or somebody else sees 1111, I say, right, when you see that, just go to the loo, stand aside, go away from people, and ask your guides, what is that message that the 1111 is trying to give to them for today?
Yeah, because it can get confusing. I do have an app on my phone called Angel Numbers because I was seeing them so much, and I tell people that I work with all the time, like it doesn't just have to be 111 or 222 or 333.
Right.
It could be an anniversary date that you're seeing all the time on the clock. It could be your birthday. Like my
Yeah.
17-year-old, she'll see the clock and she was like, "Look, my birthday. Look, it's my birthday." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Okay, did you look it up? Did it make sense to you?" But it's so many different websites and they say so many different things. How do
Yes.
you retain all of that information? How do you
I
remember it?
well, I've been learning the numbers for so long now that I know them parrot fashion. I have an archetype. So when I think of a one person, I'll think of, say, a character like Maleficent. So she was a very powerful leader, very strong. If you cross Maleficent, you'll know about it. But underneath that surface, she's actually quite mushy.
Oh.
I saw her underneath it. Ones can be very powerful people, but underneath it, they've got they're humans. They have compassion. They look out for other people, especially as you've got to look at those sub lessons as well, because they add energies. It's so complex. So the Maleficent character that I saw was someone that you don't mess with, but they will cradle you if you need it.
Yeah.
So there's archetypes that help me remember the power of the one. They're leaders, they're initiators. They don't like planning. They like to get started and do it now, because sitting around is just a waste of everybody's life. And, putting a one into a business meeting, they're like sat there going, yeah, can we start? I'm getting sick of sitting here talking about it and never getting anything done. Can we just start now, please? But the problem with that, with the one, is if they start and they initiate too quickly, sometimes planning is needed. One, to get advice from a two, and for a two to get advice from a one, so that they're not running ahead and falling off the cliff. And the two would be going, stop, stop,
I am over here laughing so hard because Katie, you need to get out of my business. So I don't know if I told you, but I am a life path one. So I am that leader. I'm that person that learns different things and teaches other people. And then my daughter, who I just mentioned, she's 17, she's a two. So she's that mediator. She's that person that helps
Yeah.
snap sense into you. So I'll find myself asking her advice and I'll do something. And she was like, no, why would you do that? Like, I would never do that. And I'm like, but what about it? She's like, no, if you didn't want to do it, why did you do it? I'm like, okay, all right. But I am about taking action and taking action.
Yeah.
And my husband is a five. So he's just like, you need to have a plan. What, like, how is this going to really benefit you? Like, what? And I'm just like, but I just want to do it. And let's just,
Yeah.
is this going to be fun? And then,
Yeah. and you'll lose interest.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't give you what you need straight away, you'll lose interest and you'll be on to the next.
Mm-hmm.
That initial, wow, that's a great idea, I need to action that right now. And then if it doesn't go to plan, or you think, I'm not sure about that idea, you will throw that idea in the bin and never think about it again.
Yes, that is so me. As you were talking, I was just like, oh, she's talking about me. Because people feel, and then they add the astrology into me. They project my astrology because I'm a Gemini. So they're like, oh, you guys are two-faced. And which one am I gonna get today? But with my life
just not
path,
the case.
like, you will get the nice version of me, the calm, the chill version, until you trigger something, or until you treat me in a way that I don't desire to be treated. And then you'll see the other side of me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, everybody has multiple versions of themselves. So don't box me in.
Yes, absolutely. I agree totally. This idea, all Geminis are two-faced. They're not actually. Geminis are multifaceted, which means they can be whatever they want to be. So people say that that's two-faced. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
Versatility is what it is. Because I'm a Gemini rising and I'm like you. So I'm very much the communicator, as you may have noticed. But again, that the side of me that someone will get will be if they treat me well, but they will see a very, very different side of me if they don't. We're all the same in a way. And I hate this idea, two-faced, whatever. I buy into that. No.
This is just me with all masks off. Which one do you want?
Yes.
And that's what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So I also noticed, well, when I reached out to you and I talked about all of the different types of numbers, and just by me doing my own research, I've mentioned a few, but then I asked you about a destiny number.
Yes.
And you didn't really resonate with that.
No.
So can you explain why you don't really resonate with the destiny number?
Yeah. So destiny number is another word for expression number. And it is the second most important number in your chart. So it's vitally important. It's all of your name added together, which is your, I call, expression number. Mm-hmm. So expression number is a talent you already have. It's your toolbox. It comes from your name. You've brought it with you to help you achieve your life path. So you express yourself as that energy. Destiny number. For me, the destiny of a person is not fixed. We make decisions, we do things, we don't do things. And really, our best destiny is to achieve our life path number, is to learn and evolve. If we were destined just to be the number of our talent, we would never change. And I don't like destiny. That tells me that my life is fixed, that I make decisions, that I don't learn lessons, that whatever I do in life, oh, you're destined for this. I'm sorry. No, I don't resonate with that, because we're all here to learn and change and evolve. So the destiny, or should I say expression number, is the talent we bring with us. It's how we express ourselves. And it's there as a tool to help us achieve the elements of our life path and birthday number. So I think expression number, even though it's the same thing, really, it's just a word. Mm-hmm. But I feel that expression number is what you see in people. So if I meet someone, I'll see their expression number. I won't see their life path so much, because they're not that number yet. They're working towards it. And it's how far down their path they are. But what you will see straight away is their expression number, because that's the energy that they exude to the world. That's how they express themselves. But it's not their destiny. That implies a fixed future.
Okay.
Just a word I don't like.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for explaining that. So do you do any classes or do you have any courses to help people understand these numbers on a deeper level?
I do one-to-one teaching with people that want I do one-to-one and small group, but I've also got courses on Udemy that people can click on and do. I do a foundations course, which just teaches you how to calculate all the numbers, and there's a lot, and how to understand them. And I deal with the archetypes with that course. So get people to really feel the number, not just the number is this. Look at the data and feel the number and create yourself an archetype for each energy. It's going to really put that deep in your soul. And then my next course teaches you how to blend those numbers. If you're a life path 1, how easy will you find it to be a leader if you're an expression number 2? Not very easy. You're in expression number 8. You will find leadership much easier. So the numbers all work together. Your expression number will help some elements of your life path and hinder other elements. And that knowledge of knowing what you're going to find easier and what you might stumble on, you know then to keep an eye on that.
Yeah. And you mentioned the number 8. And from what I know, that number 8 is like a powerhouse number. And then even with the archetypes, when I try my best to explain to people each number and based off of the name, I go back in my mind and I think, do I know someone personally with this number? And that's how I create my archetype, because I'm like, oh, my brother is an 8 and he's self-taught. He's taught himself how to play several instruments. He's always been good with managing his finances. He went straight into the Air Force from high school. Like, it's just, he's a boss, but he may also suffer with not owning his true power. And some people may suffer with low self-esteem. Some people may experience things at an early childhood with abandonment. So I think about different people and I'm like, okay, this has been something that I've noticed is a pattern with this number. This has been something I noticed is a pattern. And that's how I remember. That's how I was like, it's a lot of information. But then there's some people I don't come across often. So then that's when I'll go to the internet and share information with them that resonates with me. But just for those people listening, when you hear all of these numbers just floating all around like a vegetable soup, you can kind of know, like, if you heard us say it and you want more information, you can either reach out to Katie, you can reach out to me, or you can Google it and pick what resonates with you, because it is so much information out there. Now, this isn't something I thought about before until just now. When people play the lottery, is there anything you do with lottery numbers in numerology, or you don't mix the two?
No, because your numerology chart is all about you. And if you were to choose a line of numbers that resonate with you, that's fine, but it's not going to change the external world.
Exactly.
People think is that if I choose these numbers, I'm more likely to win because they're my numbers. I would use that number for my personal knowledge, but it's not going to affect anything. So I never use lottery numbers in that way, because they just don't affect the outside world in that way, if you know what I mean. And I'm a big lottery person anyway.
It's fixed. But no, I used to have that issue because when I was younger, my mom's boyfriend, people used to come to him and tell them their dreams, and he would give them lottery numbers based off of their dreams, and they would win. So when I got older, if I would dream something and I remember if it was a number in it or something, I would immediately think, I'm supposed to play that number. I'm supposed to play that number. Or if I saw a number repeating on the clock all the time, before I even knew about angel numbers, I would think, I'm supposed to play that number. And then I would waste my money and I would never win.
I think it's more the energy, the wisdom of that number. Go to the wisdom of that number.
Right. And I had to learn that the hard way after losing so many times. Like, maybe that number was trying to give me a message. Like, I've even found a lottery ticket outside of my house, and I was like, is this a winning number? Like, is this like, am I about to hit the lottery? Do I need to go cash it in? And nothing. And so I would go back to the internet and I'm like, let me Google what this angel number means. And that message really resonated with me.
Yes.
So I want people to get out of the idea that numbers mean you're gonna win the lottery. Like, that's not always the case.
No, that's
that
just
number
not
could have
case.
A deeper meaning about your life. Maybe something you're afraid about. Maybe something that has been weighing on you. These numbers can give you so much abundance on a deeper level.
Absolutely.
Abundance of knowledge, wisdom.
Yes.
Inner knowing.
Yeah, I mean, society focuses on money. Success is based on money. I want to be rich. I want to have lots of money so I can buy material things and money and money and money. But really, life isn't about that. That's just society. That's just capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it saddens me that so many people base their whole life on money, and then they get it and they wonder why they're not happy. Because they've told themselves that money will make them happy. Now they have money and they don't get why they're not happy. Why? What's missing? Why am I still not happy? How many billionaires are happy?
Right. I don't even know any of them. So,
well, you know, there's quite a lot of billionaires on antidepressants and that drink a lot, as far as I know. Anyway, I'm going to get off my soapbox on that subject.
Okay, so before we conclude this episode, I want to ask you, based off of the intention that you had about why you do what you do and why it's important to get this information out there so people know about it, what affirmation could a person say to themselves, or maybe an affirmation that you say to yourself to help you remember what you're here for, what your purpose is, and so people just won't give up on themselves because they're still figuring it out? What affirmation would you say?
I would say I have a personal life purpose, a personal meaning for my own evolution, my own personal evolution. Now, I'd probably reword that a little bit, but the essence is there that, you know, that we mustn't let society influence what we're here to be. I have a purpose. I am here to achieve that purpose and evolve in my own way.
Yes, I love it. I love it. Yes, because a lot of people feel like that purpose is outside of themselves and they have to wait for permission from someone else to really take action and do the work that they came here to do. Yes, there may be some obstacles. Yes, there may be some things that come up throughout that time, but it helps you to learn, it helps you to evolve, it helps you to grow, that whole evolution, because life isn't just that straight path. It's going to be some turns and some twists and some hills and some bumps. And even when you are finding out your life path or your life purpose, you always have a choice throughout that. And that's where that destiny comes into place. Like, if this was already written in stone, you wouldn't have a choice. You wouldn't have free will to decide.
Yeah.
So
I can't resonate with that.
You create your destiny. You create it as you go by the things that bring you joy, the things that bring you happiness, what resonate with you and who resonates with you, and then letting the other shit go that doesn't serve you.
Yes, absolutely. It's really helped me to find direction. I'm here to be a 7.
Yeah.
And I've always had that urge underneath, because I'm a soul urge 7 too.
Mm-hmm.
I had that urge to know my purpose. Even before my dad told me about numerology, I've always asked myself in bed as a kid, if I lost all my toys, would it really be the end of the world? Or are there things that are more important in this world than the pieces of wood, metal, and plastic that we surround ourselves with? And that's just something that's always been within me. But sevens, they're normally quite quiet and aloof and tend to be a bit of people watchers. And always a 5, loud-mouthed, gobby. People heard me before they saw me, really. So my sevenness is coming on over time, and I'm creating that one decision at a time. And by knowing that I'm a 3-4-7, I follow that, and I work towards that, and I resonate with that in every way. I've always loved everything about being a 7, so I'm just going to work every day, and that's why I don't believe in a fixed destiny, because otherwise, what is the point?
Yeah. And a 7, for you guys listening, a 7 resonates with a spiritualist, an analyst, a seeker of knowledge, a seeker of wisdom, a seeker of what's next.
Who am I?
Right.
What is the meaning of life? Who am I really? A dot of light in a machine of a body. This is my covering. This is just the machine that my soul is using to experience this world. But really, I'm a soul. I'm a little dot of light.
Right. Do you consider yourself, by being a 7, a manifester? Now, that's going a little bit more into the human design aspect of stuff, but the 7s I know, like my sister is a 7, and she is a very strong manifester, but she could also manifest negative stuff if she goes in that direction, or if things are weighing her down.
I've always seen the manifester as the energy of the 8.
The 7, powerhouse. Okay.
Because the 7 is very much about their purpose is to develop themselves. If they do nothing else in this world, if they never get a job, if they're still developing themselves, they're walking their path. It's not just theory with a 7. It's your relationships. You learn from the people that you speak to in the world and the people that you interact with. And sometimes a 7 can tip too much towards the theory and not realize that we're here to experience the world. That's why we're here. So it's manifesting internally for a 7. But an 8 takes that. The 8 has the 7 within them. So they take all that knowledge, all that intuition that they've already got, then they manifest that in the world.
Okay. So, Katie, how can people...
7.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Sorry, so the 8 to me has always been the manifester, but you might find that it's somewhere else in her chart, that she's an 8 expression or an 8 soul urge, because your passion can drive you. And if you haven't got the talent straight away, you'll develop that. If you're passionate 8, if your soul urge number is 8, you're going to get out there and you're going to do it. Whether you can or you can't, you're just going to do it. And then you'll learn and you'll be able to do it. So it depends where that number is in her chart.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. So how can people connect with you?
So people can connect with me on Facebook. I have a page on Facebook, Soul Explorer Numerology. But for the quickest responses from me come from sending me an email. And that's katie@soulexplorer.net. And I have a website if people would like to look. It needs a bit more work, the website, and that's soulexplorer.net.
Okay. And as I mentioned, she has that podcast on Spotify. So if you want to listen to some of her episodes on Spotify, you can look for the Soul Explorer Numerology Podcast, like I found it. And yes, connect with Katie. Yes. She has so much information, and she's a beautiful person inside and out. And she didn't even get upset when I tried to do my British accent.
I'm just dying. I'm bursting to tell you that I love the way you say Spotify. Say it again.
Spotify.
I say Spotify.
Spotify.
You say
Spotify.
Spotify. I love that. It's more melodic. I love that.
Hit her up on Spotify.
I'm on Spotify. And when I was at school, it wasn't Katie, it was Katie.
Hi.
E. Know
Okay.
what I mean? Like,
And then I've learned a couple of different lingo, like the tube. I said the metro or the subway. What's it, the metro? How do you say the tube? Is that what it's called?
the underground,
The
the tube.
underground? The tube.
What's tube? Tube.
Oh, I don't know. I've learned so many different things.
Just
Like
call it
you
the
guys say
underground.
hot dogs and beans a different way. It's just like so many different
Hot
things.
dogs.
Bruv.
Hot dogs. Hot dogs. Hot
But,
dogs.
okay.
Hot dogs. Yeah, I sound like really hot dogs. Yeah.
But you call it like something else, like not Franks and beans. What is it? What do you call it? Like if someone eats hot dogs and pork and beans?
What?
You don't know. You don't
Yeah.
hot dogs. Do you eat hot dogs?
Yeah, we have hot dogs. Yeah, we
Do you
have
call
hot.
it that?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Well, maybe it was just someone else I was talking to because then I learned that the eggplant was called like an aubergine or something.
Yeah, I've never understood what an eggplant was. And somebody said it's an aubergine, Kate. And I'm like, an aubergine. So why is it called an eggplant? And they're like, that's just what Americans call it. I'm like, oh, I just was. And what is it? It took me ages to figure out what aluminum was. What is that? And then somebody said aluminium. I'm like, oh,
Aluminium? That's what you guys.
aluminium. But you
Aluminium.
say, which I think is really cool, aluminum.
Aluminum foil.
Yeah.
I'm
And
I'm
basil,
gonna
you
try
say
that.
basil. Do you say basil instead of basil?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You've got so
Alumnium.
many words that you say.
I'm gonna start saying alumnium. Okay, we could be here
Aluminium.
forever. We could be here forever,
Yeah.
but I'm not gonna keep you long because I know it's the afternoon and I know you've had a long day at work. So I'm not gonna keep you. But I thank you so much. You are so wonderful. You're so hilarious too. And you don't even know it.
I've loved every minute of doing it and talking to you. So it's great.
Oh, well, thank you so much, Katie. And thank you, everyone, for listening to this episode of Soul Healer Podcast. And until next time, I'll speak with you later.